Thank you. Thank you.
I'm glad that I'm back in time for this segment because here with the science behind some of the most popular types of pots and pans on the market that are out there is the science man himself, Dan Kohler.
Welcome, Dan.
It's nice to know this. And by the way, every pot has a lid, and Julie found, I guess I would be her lid or am I her pot?
Well, if she shuts you up, then she's your lid.
Okay.
Every pot also calls the kettle black? No? Is there
No,
something
that's
like
different.
that?
The segment's next week.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway, good to see you, Dan.
Thanks. I actually was talking to Bob, one of our producers, earlier, and I think this is a problem that frustrates a lot of people, and he certainly had it. When he registered for pots and pans during his wedding, he didn't know what he was looking at.
Right.
And he even said this to me. So I was walking around there, and I ended up just picking based on price point because I don't know what the difference between all of these
Right.
metals
It's confusing. I have no idea, and I'm going to
Actually,
find
a
out.
lot of the people selling them at the stores don't know either, to be honest with you.
Well, for me, it really helps if we break this down scientifically. And for me, what I'm talking about scientifically here, we're going to look at how quickly something heats up, how long it holds on to that heat, and how durable it is. Because realistically, if you're investing in something for your kitchen, you don't want a piece of junk, right?
But my first thing is, does it stick?
Does it?
Because
Like
then I have to.
nonstick?
Yeah, because then it's like cleanup is easy. But go ahead.
And my question is it safe and not
Yes.
toxic?
Yeah,
Yes,
correct.
indeed.
And mine is, does it look good in the kitchen?
Well, let the man speak. Maybe we'll find out.
We don't have. I'm not sure we have time for you.
Okay.
Let's start with the cast iron.
So cast iron, I'm sure this is not hard to believe. This is one of the oldest forms of cookware we even have evidence
Kim
of.
knows.
So we've got
We're
evidence of
doing
this
math
going
laws
back
next.
all the way to the Han Dynasty in China, which is from 200 BC all the way to about 200 AD. So something like this was made it's heavy, it's thick, it's strong, because this was before you had a stove or an oven. This kind of cookware had to be set right in a raging fire. So you'd make a giant cauldron out of cast iron. Consequently, what you have here is a kind of metal that heats up very slowly. But once it heats up, it holds on to that heat for a very long time. And actually, of everything we're going to look at today, cast iron can get the hottest. And that's really important actually for searing a steak, which I think this is the perfect example of what you want to do in that cast iron, right?
Oh, that's
You
beautiful.
can get it rip-roaringly hot and get the perfect color on your steak because it holds that heat for a long time. It's a very efficient kind of cooking.
Look at that. That's beautiful, Dan. Oh my goodness.
Why are you doing this to
Perfect.
me?
It's
Why
perfect.
are you doing this?
I
Listen,
know.
I'm here to make you jealous.
Don't they also make, didn't they make
Rachel saying.
cannonballs out of that?
Yeah, so this originally would have been cannon fodder. Cast iron was developed for cannonballs.
Wow.
That's how resilient and durable it is. So if
Okay,
we're talking about durability, this thing can't go bad.
It'll last forever.
It'll last forever.
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel. This has become the gold standard in American kitchens, I would say. This is the thing that everybody kind of wants to register for.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, stainless steel is relatively new. We really didn't even develop the technology to make steel stainless until the late 1800s. Now, I know that sounds old, but remember, this goes back to 200 BC. So stainless steel is relatively new. What makes steel stainless is a chemical process in which we actually add a lot of chromium to the steel. When there's an excess of chromium, you can't get iron oxide, and iron oxide is rust. So these pans are actually anti-corrosive. That's why they're called stainless. That's why they're shiny all the time.
I do cook, but my pots do not look that clean. I thought they were stained. Apparently, I'm not cleaning them that
So your
well.
stainless steel actually stains.
Kim, how do you clean
Mine
yours?
are perfect.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't
Well,
have
Mark,
one
she never uses them.
She just wants to know if they're pretty. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, Kim.
But what's interesting about steel, if we look at those scientific properties, how quickly does it heat up, how long does it hold on to heat, steel is actually a terrible conductor of heat. Yeah, which is why it's normally just coating aluminum or copper. When you coat it, you get this beautiful shiny thing that you want in the kitchen, but you get the benefit of those other metals. So in here you can see at the bottom of this pan, there's a little chunk here. This is aluminum. Aluminum is a much better conductor than the steel. And on this pan down here, you can see there's actually a line of copper. This pan has got copper sandwiched in between the steel, so that copper will help you heat things up.
Well, is that kind of like a ripoff then?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. You're getting the best of both worlds here.
Okay.
You're getting the stainless qualities and you're getting the heat value of something else.
And you're getting, as Kim would say, you're getting the looks.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Which is all that matters.
All right, let's move on to the copper, because I frankly think the copper is the most
pretty.
beautiful.
Yes, it's
Yes.
so
Yeah.
It
pretty.
really is beautiful.
It is, and the reason it's used, you can see it here in this stainless steel, the reason copper is used is because it's one of the most reactive metals you can have in the kitchen. It's reactive to acids, it's reactive to bases, but more importantly, it's really reactive to heat. So if you're cooking a sauce down, if you're reducing something, or if you're making caramel and you're, there we go, and you're bubbling that sugar
Oh, wow.
away. Now, caramel can be very finicky, and you might want to change the temperature on your stove very quickly if you start smelling some burning. Copper is the kind of pan that's going to react the quickest to that. It's going to lose some of its heat quickly. It's going to respond. It's so sensitive, and it's really important for candy making to have a sensitive kind of pot. Now, I will say, you can see here, actually, at the bottom of this pan, remember I said it's very reactive? Look at all of that mottled color right there. Now, if this is what the pan looked like when we bought it. And this is what it looks like just after a couple of uses. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but that is evidence of how reactive copper can be.
Will all copper go like that then?
All copper will eventually take on some of this extra mottled color, but I want you to know at home that's not actually a sign of it degrading. That's not something to worry about.
Okay, good.
What if just some sautéing vegetables? Like,
All right.
What pan do I go for?
If you're just sautéing vegetables, and we've got this right here, that's what I use. I use my stainless steel for that, actually.
Okay.
This is, you can see
okay.
here, because it's going to heat up. It's not going to get any of
Garlic.
Right, that's garlic. It's also not going to stain at all from anything you put in.
So is that pan, this one?
No, that's the stainless steel that we talked about right
Okay,
before
okay.
right before the copper.
Okay. So that's what I can go with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, what I would say is the workhorse of the kitchen, and you'll find this in a lot of industrial kitchens. I don't think a lot of people buy this at home, but it is used widely in commercial kitchens. This is aluminum, and aluminum we know is actually a pretty weak metal, and so you see these pots and pans are advertised as anodized aluminum. Anodized means strengthened, right? So suddenly you've got something that won't bend or break. But aluminum, like copper, is very sensitive, and it's actually that makes it perfect for something like this. Pulling cookies out of the oven. All of your baking trays are normally lined with, I'll pass these over. Are you sure? Don't mind at all. Now, aluminum ends up being great for your bakeware because actually it's incredibly conductive, and that's what you want when you want this perfectly caramelized cookie.
I'm sorry, your tray is empty.
Let me see if we've got more in the magic oven.
Let me ask you something. What's the best one then? Is
What's
there a
the
best
tool?
one?
Okay, so for me, my favorite is cast iron. But let me tell you, if you're worried about having to invest in a whole set of pots of each of these, don't do that. Just learn to buy one perfect piece in each, right? Like get a 9 or 10 inch cast iron skillet, get a really nice stock pot in steel, get a little saucepan in copper, and some baking sheets in aluminum, and your kitchen is set.
Dan Kohler, I love you.
More information on Dan, you can go to his website. It's very easily found.
Yes, and up next we are playing 4-letter word scramble.